Thank you. I'm sure we all remember Hurricane Katrina. And every August when I get a chance to do this piece, I do it in memory of the lives lost, the 1,800 lives that were lost in Hurricane Katrina. And as far up the Hudson as you are, I know you get storms. We had Sandy that did a lot of damage down in New Jersey and in New York. And so this piece I want to share with you in memory of the victims of Hurricane Katrina in August of 2005. And I had the privilege to travel to Mississippi, to Moss Point, to serve the people of Mississippi after the hurricane, to be able to bring food, to be able to bring medicines, and to be a part of the rescue mission. And it was a great privilege to be able to serve in that way. They said it would happen, but I didn't believe them. For 40 years, I lived in this neighborhood. 40 long years, I watched that oak tree grow taller and taller, reaching for the blinding Louisiana sun. And they said it would happen, but I never believed them. For 40 years, I lived in this neighborhood, busted my toes on the knobby knees of the cypress trees that flanked the banks of the swamp in this neighborhood, dug slimy mud bugs from the thick muck on the bottom of the river, crafty little creatures, delicious crawfish cooked Louisiana style with piping hot peppers that force you to fan your mouth with one free hand while the tears roll down your face and you sniffle to keep your nose from running too. Swatted more than my fair share of man-sized mosquitoes rising up from the bayous. Watched as they built their Sin City. Glitzy casinos and floating barges polluting my waters in the name of commerce. Flying in the face of God, I tell you, in the very face of God. Married me a sweet man with strong arms, lifting boxes onto a freight truck heading for the East Coast. Raised me 5 gorgeous babies with hair so nappy, it took days to comb them all. 40 long years, I tell you. Saw my hips go from small to medium, from medium to large, from large to, well, you can see for yourself, can't you? As I downed tons of southern fried chicken smothered in rich gravies, mopped up with Mama's homemade buttermilk biscuits. Fresh peach cobbler baking in the oven, southern style. Built our house from the ground up, room by room, brick by brick. Planted the fiery bougainvillea that ran up the front porch. Smelled the sweet perfume of the magnolia trees at the end of the street. Hugged my blanket closely around my shoulders as the cold of deep south winter set in on a dark night. 40 beautiful years. And they said it would happen, but I never believed it. I just never believed it. Even when the wind started howling around me and I looked up at the thick black clouds racing towards me, I still couldn't believe it. Even when the screams of frightened children and brave men pierced the night as the waters rose and swirled angrily around their feet, even then my clouded mind refused to believe it. Even as my husband hollered, "Woman, get up off your knees and run, head for the attic." He screamed to no one in particular, it seemed, as he grabbed all 5 children in his huge arms and shoved them ahead of him into the tiny space above our room. Even as the windows shattered all around me, covering me with shards of glass, piercing my face. Even as I felt him grab me by my shirt and roughly force me to my feet, pushing and shoving me up the stairs into the cramped space where there was no air. "Woman, move! Grab the axe and start cutting through the roof," he shouted. Again, to no one in particular, it seemed. "Leon, you go first and hang on to your sisters." I heard the words, and I followed his instructions, but I still could not believe it. Even as night turned to day and we huddled and prayed and prayed and huddled and cried, wept bitterly and prayed, closed our eyes to the bodies floating by and hanging from the trees like memories of the South a long, long time ago. It will be a long time before I ever sleep again. So, after 40 long years, this is my home. Right here amidst this mud, debris, rotting flesh, and stinking water, I must make my bed tonight, like I have done for 18 days now. 18 days, 10 hours, 4 minutes, and counting. Tick, tock, tick. The hands of the clock tell me that all we have is time. No money, no jobs, no home, just time. Piles and piles of debris, mounds of mud, and time. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all this time. No schools for my children, rats scurrying around everywhere, huge rats fat from the feast of aging animal flesh. And they say we should boil water. On what? What stoves? What water? No pipes, no roof, no floors. And they say we're not covered for flooding. Hurricanes, yes, but no flooding. No insurance, no money, no credit cards. And they say we must rebuild, and they say we must have hope, and they say. I am so sick and tired of hearing them say. Who are these people who don't know, who don't understand that this is my home? Right here amidst this mud, debris, rotting flesh, and stinking water, I must make my bed tonight, like I have done for 18 days now. 18 days, 10 hours, 5 minutes, and counting. And that was in memory of all the people who lost their lives during Katrina.